All right, so how many people have heard the term DevSecOps before? And how many people actually know what that means or what it entails or feel like they've implemented it successfully? It's because probably DevOps is a misnomer, which I'll be talking about today. And that pretty much means that there's a lot more that goes into it than you would think. My name is Victoria Geronimo. I work at Second Watch. I am a product manager. In my previous lives, I have been head of InfoSec at a fintech startup. We did some like data analysis and that sort of thing. So this is the typical status quo. You have your DevOps team, which is all about collaboration, automation, reliability, and then you have your security team, which is all about checking the code, looking for vulnerabilities, running scans, and sending it back to DevOps. Problems with this are that a lot of stuff gets lost in translation. The teams are typically siloed. They don't talk a lot except when security is throwing it back over to DevOps. DevOps people don't know security. At my last job, none of the developers even knew what OWASP was. And then with security, they don't know DevOps. They don't understand how the flow is supposed to work and that it's all about speed. So there's just a lot that goes into it that gets lost. You don't want to just insert security into DevOps and then walk away and call it a day because it's going to break everything. It's going to break that DevOps cycle. So it's really about how do we collaborate and how do we insert different parts of security into the DevOps cycle, kind of like how development teams and operations teams merge to become DevOps. To do it right, you have to do a multi-tiered, multi-pronged solution that requires a few different elements. But two of the main things that a lot of people don't think about are that people mean two different things when they talk about DevSecOps. One is going to be your configuration, so your top-down policies that get pushed to code in terms of infrastructure, and then your actual CI/CD pipeline. So these are two things that you need to consider both in tandem as well as separately. There are three things that go into it, and it's going to be people, process, and technology. So one is going to be the training. One is going to be tools that you're inserting into your build pipeline. After this, you're going to see the lovely infinity symbol of DevSecOps. And then you also want to make sure that from a top-down perspective, you're in agreement on infrastructure changes and how code gets pushed. So here we have our deployment model and for building code in the DevOps pipeline. And then the number systems are where you want to put in your different security tooling. So this pertains to more of the build pipeline, the CI/CD pipeline, and then the tools. From a plan stage, you want to make sure that you have a threat modeling system going where you're meeting once a week or once a month to talk about threats that are possible to your system, what the impact will be and the likelihood of them occurring, so that you can figure out how to build your code around that. In terms of the actual coding, you want to be doing things like IDE, as well as peer review, which is a huge thing. GitLab, GitHub, they all have controls now where you can say, hey, this person can't pull code, they can't merge code unless it gets peer reviewed. And that always should just be a check from your system that security team is making sure is put in the build pipeline, or sorry, the code. For building, you want to make sure you have hardened image. And then with static analysis, which basically means it's checking your code for any known vulnerabilities. In the test stage, you want to do your dynamic code analysis, which is going to be, we run our code, is it calling out to any sort of servers we don't know about? That's where a lot of Bitcoin mining operation happens. In the release stage, you want to be doing automated key rotation, which is a big thing we see in security assessments. No one has, not nobody, but a lot of people are not rotating their keys automatically. And then you also want to be doing vulnerability scanning at that stage as well, something running it through Qualys or Nessus. In the deploy stage, you just want to be controlling repositories that can auto-deploy. As I talked, automation is a big factor in DevOps, so you just want to make sure you understand exactly what's running at all times. And then in your operate stage, you want to have runtime protection. RASP is a fairly new thing that's been picking up speed, and that's going to give you some real zero-day protection against known vulnerabilities that are coming out, as well as being context-aware. And then in your monitor stage, you want to do configuration change monitoring. This is where a lot of your typical security team come in operation. So you're going to be doing network monitoring, anomaly monitoring, your SIEM services there. So that is a very, very quick overview of a very big topic that we could go into. You can find me at the Second Watch booth later today, and I will talk your head off all about it. But thank you for having me.